I have two friends. I won't use their real names on the internet, so let's call them Sarah and Jessica. We are all 25 years old, we make roughly the same salary, and we live in the same city. Sarah is what our generation calls a smart shopper. She has every retail app on her phone. She knows exactly when the semi-annual sales hit. She never pays full price for anything. If a jacket is originally $300 and marked down to $150, Sarah buys it immediately and sends a screenshot to our group chat. Just saved $150. Jessica is the opposite. If she needs a winter jacket, she researches exactly what she wants, walks into the store, pays the full $300, and walks out. She buys far fewer things, but when she buys, she completely ignores the red clearance tags. If you asked anyone on the street who is better with money, everyone would say Sarah. Sarah is the savvy one. Sarah is hacking the system. But a few months ago, the three of us were sitting in my living room talking about the future, and we did something we had never done before. We actually opened up our financial apps and looked at each other's numbers, and I was completely shocked. Jessica's net worth is quietly destroying Sarah's. Jessica has a massive emergency fund and a growing investment portfolio. Sarah, despite making a great income and saving on every single purchase, is living paycheck to paycheck, surrounded by a mountain of discounted things she never actually needed and stressed out of her mind. Most people don't understand why this happens. When people look at me, a 25-year-old blonde girl talking to a camera, they usually assume my biggest financial asset is my Sephora Rouge status, or that my idea of investing is buying a designer bag before the annual price increase. And honestly, I don't blame them. We are conditioned from childhood to feel a rush of pride when we hand the cashier a coupon or watch a promo code magically drop the total at checkout. We genuinely believe we are outsmarting billion-dollar retail corporations. We aren't. They are outsmarting us. Every single time. Today, we are going to talk about the 50% off trap, a psychological mechanism that retailers, marketers, and algorithms understand perfectly but have absolutely zero incentive to explain to you. I'm going to show you exactly how the concept of saving money on sales is secretly bankrupting our generation, why your brain is being weaponized against your bank account, and the brutal mathematics of what a single Black Friday haul actually costs you over the course of your life. But more importantly, I'm going to show you what this trap is distracting you from. Because right now, while we are busy fighting over 20% off promo codes, the single greatest wealth creation event in modern history is unfolding above our heads, a $124 trillion transfer of assets that will mint more new millionaires than any period in American history.
And if your capital is trapped in a closet full of clearance rack sweaters, you are going to miss the whole thing. You probably think you are in control of your spending. By the end of this video, you will realize that your definition of a good deal was planted in your head by people whose only job is to drain your liquidity. Let's start with the most dangerous word in the English language right now. The word is savings. When you walk into a store or open an app, you see a pair of shoes. The tag says $200 crossed out with a bright red $100 next to it. The sign above reads Save $100. Read that again. Save $100. I remember the first time I actually stopped and thought about what that sentence means, because once I saw it, I could never unsee it. When you buy those shoes, you did not save $100, you spent $100. Your net worth did not go up by $100, it went down by $100. You traded $100 of liquid, investable, compounding capital for a depreciating asset made of leather and rubber that will be worth zero in 3 years. But your brain does not process it that way, and mine didn't either, for years. There's a concept in behavioral economics called anchor pricing. Once I learned about it, I started seeing it literally everywhere. Here's how it works. The first number you see, the $200, becomes your mental anchor. Your brain locks onto it and decides that that's what the item is worth. Once that anchor is set, the $100 price feels like a massive victory. It feels like you are getting away with something. You get a huge hit of dopamine, the exact same neurochemical reaction a gambler gets pulling the lever at a slot machine. You didn't buy the shoes because you needed them, you bought them to acquire the dopamine hit of the discount. I know this because I have done it dozens of times. Here's the cold, hard truth that retail executives know but will never say out loud. Those shoes were never worth $200. According to industry analyses of overseas manufacturing costs, shoes in this category cost roughly $12 to $18 to produce. The company always intended to sell them for $100. The $200 tag is a fabricated anchor designed exclusively to manipulate your perception of value. They manufacture the anchor so they can manufacture your dopamine hit so they can extract your cash. The industry calls this spaving, spending to save. And once you see the pattern, you realize it is everywhere.
Okay, confession time. Because I cannot sit here and pretend I have always been some enlightened financial guru. I fell for this exact trap, and the math of what it cost me still makes me a little sick. Last year, I walked into Target. I needed paper towels and toothpaste. That was the entire mission. But I made the mistake of walking past the clothing section, and there it was, a massive clearance rack. 3 sweaters, originally $60 each, marked down to $20. I was not planning to buy sweaters that day. I did not need them. But my brain instantly did the calculation. That's $120 of savings. I literally cannot afford not to buy them. So I put all 3 in my cart. I spent $60. I walked out to my car feeling like a financial genius. I genuinely felt proud of myself. Then I got home, opened my closet, and realized I already owned 5 sweaters that looked almost identical. And it hit me. I had just been played. Not by some mastermind villain, by a red tag and my own dopamine system. When I sat down that evening and ran the numbers, here is what I found. Wealthy people do not evaluate a purchase by its price tag. They evaluate it by its opportunity cost, the future value of the capital you just spent. Every dollar you hand over at a register is a dollar that can never compound for your future. What if, instead of buying 3 mediocre sweaters I did not need, I had put that $60 into an S&P 500 index fund? I'm 25. If that $60 compounds at the market's historical real return of roughly 7% per year for 40 years, it becomes approximately $898 in today's purchasing power. At the nominal average of about 10%, meaning before adjusting for inflation, the number is closer to $2,715. The truth is somewhere in between, but either way, those sweaters did not cost me $60. They cost me somewhere between $900 and $2,700 of future wealth for 3 sweaters I have worn exactly once. And that was one random Tuesday at Target. According to a 2023 survey by Slick Deals, and yes, I appreciate the irony of citing a deals website, the average American spends roughly $3,300 a year on impulse purchases, with most of those driven by sales, discounts, and limited-time offers. Other estimates place the number closer to $4,000. Let's use a middle figure, $300 a month. If you take that $300 per month, the money that goes to Amazon Prime Day, Black Friday hauls, semi-annual sales, and late-night clearance browsing, and instead invest it in a broad market index fund every month for 30 years at a 7% real return, that money grows to roughly $340,000 in today's dollars. At the nominal average of about 10%, it comes closer to $680,000. Either way, it's a life-changing amount of wealth.
Drop that number in the comments, whichever version shocks you more, because I want you to see it, feel it, and never forget it. That is the true cost of being a smart shopper. You are trading financial independence. You are trading the ability to walk away from a toxic job. You are funding the retail CEO's 3rd vacation home instead of funding your own freedom. But it gets worse, because the retail industry has not just mastered the psychology of the price tag, they have completely mastered the digital environment you live in. We are in an era of weaponized convenience. 10 years ago, buying something on sale required friction. Driving to a mall, finding parking, finding your size, waiting in line. That friction gave your prefrontal cortex time to ask, do I actually need this? Today, there is zero friction. The algorithm on your phone knows what you looked at 3 days ago. It serves you a targeted ad on TikTok with a countdown timer. Only 2 left in your size. Sale ends in 3 hours. Artificial scarcity, evolutionary fear of missing out, and then with Apple Pay or Amazon one-click, the money is gone before your conscious brain even registers what happened. You are not making purchasing decisions anymore. You are reacting to digital triggers engineered to bypass your rational mind. And our generation is uniquely vulnerable to this. The term is doom spending, and when I first heard it, I thought, that is literally me. Here's what happens psychologically. We look at the macroeconomic environment, median home prices up roughly 150% since 2000, inflation eating our grocery budgets, interest rates pricing us out of the life our parents had, and we quietly give up on the big goals. We think, I am never going to afford a $600,000 starter home, so I might as well buy this $500 Dyson Airwrap on sale for $399. I deserve a little treat. I caught myself thinking exactly this 3 months ago. I was scrolling through a sale and my literal internal monologue was, well, home ownership is a fantasy anyway. That thought scared me because it's a surrender dressed up as self-care. We are medicating our financial anxiety with discounted consumer goods, and every dollar we spend that way is a dollar that cannot build the life we actually want. Which brings me to girl math. If you've been on the internet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If I buy a $400 purse with cash from my wallet, it's basically free. If I return a $50 item to Zara and buy a $100 item, I only spent $50. If I load $100 on my Starbucks app on Sunday, my coffees for the rest of the week are free.
Full transparency, I did not just watch this trend, I lived it. I was the person preloading the Starbucks app and calling it free coffee. It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize what I was actually doing to my finances. Girl math is not cute. It is a symptom of a generation that has completely detached the act of spending from the reality of wealth destruction. It is the reason people earning $150,000 a year are drowning in credit card debt. They treat money like a game of mental gymnastics, where as long as you can justify the purchase, the math does not matter. But the math always matters. Let me show you one of the most elegant girl math traps ever designed, the free shipping threshold. You have a $35 item in your cart. Shipping is $8. The website shows you a little progress bar. You're only $15 away from free shipping. Your brain hates paying for shipping, so you scroll the accessories page, find a $15 candle you would never have bought otherwise, and add it. Your total is $50. Shipping disappears. You feel like a winner. Here is the actual math. If you had just paid shipping, your total would be $43. By saving $8, your total is now $50. You paid $7 more. You handed over additional capital, and in return, you received a candle you did not want, did not need, and would never have looked at if that progress bar did not exist. I once bought a candle that smelled like a burning tire because it was exactly $14.99 and I needed $15 to hit free shipping. That candle is still in my closet. Every time I see it, I remember the night I paid $7 extra to save $8. Now, why am I being so intense about all of this? Why does it matter if you waste a few $100s a month on sales? Because of what's happening in the global economy right this second. I read a report from Cerulli Associates a few months ago that genuinely changed the way I think about money. The number was so large I had to read it 3 times. $124 trillion.
That is the estimated value of assets that will change hands between now and 2048. It is the largest transfer of wealth in recorded human history. Baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964, currently control roughly 52% of all household wealth in the United States. Over the next 2 decades, that wealth transfers to their children, their grandchildren, and into the broader economy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Milena, that's great for people with rich parents. I'm not inheriting millions.
And you might be right. Inheritances alone will not create most new millionaires. The transfer is highly concentrated at the top. But the critical detail almost everyone misses is this. The opportunity is not just about inheriting money. It is about the cascading economic effects of $124 trillion in motion. When trillions flow into investment accounts, asset prices rise, benefiting everyone who is already invested. When heirs spend, start businesses, or buy property, it creates demand that lifts entire sectors. Between 2010 and 2024, according to UBS's Global Wealth Report, the United States added over 15 million new millionaire households, more than 1,000 new millionaires every single day. Most of them were not born rich. They were ordinary people who were invested in the market during its rise. I want to tell you about a woman named Margaret because her story is the reason I started taking investing seriously. Margaret was a school teacher, not a banker, not a tech founder, a public school teacher. On March 9, 2009, the day the S&P 500 bottomed at 676 points, Margaret took $50,000 she had been saving and put it into a simple index fund. Her friends thought she had lost her mind. The economy was in free fall. Lehman Brothers had just collapsed. Margaret ignored everyone. Today, that $50,000 is worth approximately $590,000. She did not pick stocks, she did not have insider information, she simply had capital available at a moment when most people had already spent theirs, and she had the conviction to deploy it. When I first heard that story, I thought, I need to become Margaret. I need to have capital ready for the next moment like that, and every dollar I spend on a half-price sweater is a dollar I will not have when that moment comes. Here is the brutal equation. You cannot participate in the greatest wealth transfer in human history if you have no liquid capital. Every dollar sitting in your closet as a clearance rack impulse buy is a dollar that is not in the market while these trillions start moving. So how do people who actually build wealth approach buying things? After studying this for over a year, I can tell you, they think about purchases in a way that is fundamentally different from what we are taught. They calculate cost per use, not cost per item. This was the single biggest mindset shift for me. I did this math on my own closet last winter, and it was embarrassing. I had a $40 fast fashion coat from Zara. I wore it for 1 season. The zipper broke, the material pilled. I bought another one the next year. 2 coats, $80, both in the landfill. My mom has a $350 wool coat she bought in 2015. She still wears it every winter. It looks brand new. That's $35 per year and dropping with every season. My 2 cheap coats, $40 per year each. My mom's expensive coat, $35 per year and falling. The expensive coat was cheaper. It just did not feel that way at the register. Broke people buy cheap things because they are on sale. Wealthy people buy fewer, better things because they last. The total cost is often the same, but one person spent a decade wearing something excellent, while the other spent a decade replacing garbage and calling it frugality. And here's something else I realized when I moved into my first apartment. 600 square feet in a building where every inch costs rent money. Every item I bring home takes up space that I am paying for. When you buy things on sale in bulk, you become a free warehouse for the retailer. You paid them to store their inventory in your house. Success is not how much stuff you can accumulate at a discount. Success is a clean space, a clear mind, and capital ready to deploy.
If we want our generation to actually build wealth instead of accumulating discounted liabilities, we need rules, not willpower, rules. Because willpower collapses at 11 p.m. when you are exhausted and the algorithm hits you with a 70% off flash sale while you're scrolling in bed. Here's the exact framework I use. 4 rules, non-negotiable. Rule 1, the zero anchor test. Cover the original price. Physically put your thumb over the crossed out number and look only at the sale price. Ask yourself, if this were the normal, everyday price, no red tag, no countdown timer, no limited stock banner, would I buy it? I tried this at Nordstrom last month. A pair of boots marked down to $120 from $240. Without the anchor screaming at me, I realized I would never pay $120 for those boots in a million years. I put them back. That's $120 still in my investment account. If the answer is no, you do not want the item. You want the dopamine hit. Do not pay $120 for a chemical reaction in your brain. Rule 2, the 48-hour cart quarantine. When you're shopping online, you're allowed to add whatever you want to your cart. Load it up. $300, $500, go wild. I do this constantly. But then close the tab, walk away. You're not allowed to check out for 48 hours. Here's what happens every single time. In 48 hours, the emotional high fades. Your rational brain re-engages. You open the cart and realize you don't care about 80 to 90% of what's in it. You delete it. Thousands of dollars saved per year simply by inserting a time delay between desire and execution. Rule 3, the free shipping veto. Never add an item to your cart to hit a free shipping threshold. If you are $10 short and shipping is $8, pay the $8. You keep $2, you avoid a junk purchase, and you deny the retailer the chance to inflate your order value. I learned this the hard way with the tire-scented candle. Never again. Rule 4, the invest the discount match. This is the lie detector. If you buy a $100 jacket on sale for $50 and tell yourself you saved $50, you must immediately open your brokerage app and transfer $50 into an index fund. Right then. No excuses. The first time I tried this, I could not do it. I did not have the $50 to transfer. And in that moment, I realized I had not saved anything. I had spent the only $50 I had and told myself a story about it. If you implement this rule, one of 2 things happens. Either you rapidly build a real investment portfolio funded by your so-called savings, or, more likely, you stop buying things on sale because you finally see the truth. You do not have the cash flow to support the habit. We are living through an era of unprecedented consumer manipulation. The companies selling you these products have unlimited budgets and AI algorithms mapping your every move. Their entire business model depends on you confusing spending with saving. They want you to feel smart while you hand over your future. The people who will become millionaires over the next decade, the ones who will capture their share of that $124 trillion transfer, are the ones who recognize this game and simply refuse to play. They understand that the ultimate flex is not wearing a designer coat you got for 60% off. The ultimate flex is waking up on a random Tuesday, looking at your bank account and knowing you do not have to go to work if you do not want to. Wealth is the cars not purchased, the clothes not bought, the money compounding year after year, quietly turning you into a force that cannot be stopped. I am recording this video at 25 years old. I'm recording it for my future self, for Melina at 35, at 45, and at 65. I want her to look back at this exact moment and say, that was the day you stopped buying discounts and started buying freedom. And I want you to do the same thing right now. Here's your first move. Go to your email inbox, search the word sale. Look at how many retail newsletters are sitting there, planting anchors in your brain every single week. Unsubscribe from the first 5. Then come back and tell me in the comments how many you had. I guarantee the number is higher than you expect. The 50% off trap only works if you step on it. It's time we start walking around it. I'm Melina. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.